back to Pro Cycle Repair with Ian. I'm here today to show you guys another project on the AT125 Yamaha. Today I'm going to show you guys how to replace, we got the front shock seals, the fork seals. I'm going to show you guys how to replace these, put new oil in the shocks, and also put dust covers on. Most of the time these things just get brittle, they fall off. Also, these will end up leaking, so they won't hold the pressure anymore, so you won't have any feedback on the forks. And this will apply to a lot of bikes, CT90s, CT70s, Yamahas, Kawasaki's, whatever it be. Pretty much 70s to the 90s it's going to apply, unless it's a race bike. So yeah, let's get to it. Alright, so some of the tools that you're going to need, you can use a basic ratchet, or you could use an impact. You're going to need a size for this bike, let's see here. You're going to need a size 13. You're going to need a 10mm adjustable wrench, possibly a hammer, and maybe even a crowbar. So, how to start, you're going to take off the fender. Already did that. Got that off. We have these locking nuts right there. We also got one main one right there too. I had to take off the handlebars just to access. This is the bolt where you're going to fill oil, but also it's the top. So what we're going to do is we're start with taking that off, and I'll show you guys. Most of the time this isn't actually holding the forks, this is just like a dust cap. But, yep. So, that's how you fill it. Pushes down like that. So you need to take this off. Has a little O-ring. Check that. Looks like it's pretty healthy, so we won't need to replace it. And next thing we'll do is we'll loosen these bolts, and this whole cylinder will slide right off. Alright, so this is how it comes when you slide it off. You have this little cylinder right here that goes on top of this. That's what shoves down the spring. So there's spring and fluid inside these. And yeah, you can see this comes out like that. I did have to flip it over to dump out the fluid, which actually sounds like there's a little bit more left in there. I pull out the spring. Oh, yep. I'm gonna go dump that really quick. Alright, so I drained the rest of the oil. There might be a little bit left in it. Doesn't really matter. I pulled out the spring, so we have this other piece, goes on top. So now we can pull off the junk dust cover. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the end of it. We got this, hopefully you guys can see it. We got this bolt right on here. We're going to take that off. And at the bottom of this, there is a, I'll have to pry that out. Pry bar in there so we can get this out, little spacer. Then at the bottom of this, what we're looking at now is there's an Allen bolt, and then there's a looks like a Phillips. I'm assuming the Phillips is probably maybe the drain plug. Some of them will have like a little bolt on the side of the cylinder right there. So I'm going to take that out. So it is a size 6mm Allen. Okay, I'm gonna grab my impact. Now these can be tricky to get out sometimes just for sitting for so long. Then you pull in the cylinder. All right, I felt it disengage. Maybe it has to come out a little bit more. Looks like we got a little bit more fluid left in there. I'm gonna go try dumping out the remainder really quick. Alright, so that came out. Alright, so in order to get these off, typically there's a snap ring above this, above the seal, and that snap ring, you take that out, and then the seal will come right out. Well, this is a super particular one. I've never seen this before. And they only made this style shock for Yamaha, the AT1 at least, for 3 years. Then they changed to the normal snap ring style. But basically, the O-ring, the seal has to be pressed into this collar. There's a O-ring inside of there, and it threads on. So I pressed the new ones into it, and we just need to clean everything really well and get the new ones on. So just use some brake clean. And we'll pull it out. Alright, so next, with all these little imperfections on it, and that, we just want to take some Scotch-Brite and just hold the Scotch-Brite in our hand like this, and we're just going to gently clean those off. It really doesn't need that much, but it'll ensure that it'll better help our new seal to not leak. So I just take a Scotch-Brite pad, just do it really nice and light. we've gotten those cleaned up. We've gotten this knocked down as much as we can. You really don't want to go very deep. And if it's, so you can feel this pretty good. If it's a lot, then just leave it. Just take down the edges, because that's what damages the seals over time. Next, we're going to slide on our pieces. Alright, before I put that on, I'm going to clean up the threads really quick with some wire brush. Then I'm going to take the cleaned cylinder and I'm going to take a little bit of oil, put it on my finger. Just put a little coating on the end of this. That's why it's not going all in dry. I'm going to slide it back in the cylinder. Then once you have that flush down to the threads, you're going to grab your collar. You're going to put the threads down. Just going to slide it over that seal. So we're gonna put some drops of blue thread locker on it, and we're just gonna make them hand tight. Just gonna do 3 dots. That should be plenty. There's that one. There you go. So the next thing we need to do is we need to put these holders down in them. What you're going to do is you're going to drop this down into it. And you're going to put one of your Allens in there. And you're going to screw into the bottom of that. You might need to put the spring inside there, just for that tension against it. Okay, make them snug. Then what you'll do is you put one of these little collars on top, just like that. And then this part will go on top of that when we put it all in. One thing we won't want to forget is putting, there's a one little, I think it's a drain screw at the bottom. I'm just keeping tension against the end of the spring right now. And you'll just want to make this snug. Give it one more. Then you want to put in your screws. Put in our other screw. Then all we need to do is install them on the bike. Alright, I want to show you guys really quick. I got the whole fender set up on. There's a bolt here, bolt there, bolt there, bolt there. Goes right on. I wanted to show you, so once I slid the cylinders into the holes, you got 3 bolts. So you got these 2 and this one. And you just have to line it up, and you got to bring it up to the top of this where it's flush. So I got them both flush. Then you tighten those down really good. Then what you're going to do is you're going to put that little piece in there like I showed you earlier. You're going to put the slide in there. This bike calls for 4 ounces of fork fluid, so I put 4 ounces in there. Then what you'll do is you'll press these down and you'll put this on top, and you'll tighten that on top, and that's how I do it.